She told me that she wasn't about to move across the country with me unless she could live in a high-rise downtown, have a high-end lifestyle. Hey Niners, welcome back to my channel. How are we doing today? We are going to be doing another reaction video. I hope you're excited as I am. Welcome back Niners, and if you're new here, do not forget to subscribe, like, comment so that you know when next I do upload. Without further ado, I'm going to be reading off my phone as usual. So this is relationship advice by snowboard man 63. It's a long one. You ready? Are you ready? Let's do it. My fiance, 26 female, and I, 27 female, are planning to move across the country together after I graduate from our program. However, I'm beginning to suspect she only wants me for the lifestyle she expects me to provide for her. I don't really have any context to be able to give you an advice, so I'm going to keep reading. My fiancé and I have been together for a few years now, and everything has been going so well. We have a lot of similar interests, hobbies, humor, and more. The things we don't agree on are usually solved with a discussion and a compromise. I love my fiancé and I plan on spending the rest of my life with her. However, she said something earlier this week that made me really uncomfortable, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since. For a little context, I'm graduating this May from grad school, and I have been interviewing at a bunch of different jobs across the country. We don't plan on staying in our current state. It was a super stressful process, and I've actually gained quite a few gray hairs during all of this. I landed an offer last week downtown in a city across the country that we've always wanted to move to. But the reviews from former employees about this place said to stay far away, that the company was extremely toxic, so I haven't responded yet to the offer. I received another offer this week from a company in the suburb of that same city, and they had so much better reviews, so I planned on taking this job. My initial reaction was one of excitement, as the job pays well, has good benefits, and is located just outside of where we've always wanted to live. I got the offer right before my fiancé and I were planning on grabbing food with a friend, so I told him the good news during lunch. However, instead of being happy with me, she seemed upset when I told her, almost outright disappointed in me. Your fiancé not being happy with you for accepting this role is a big red flag, because you just talked about all of the interviews that you were doing, because it was a bunch, and you even referred to gray hairs during this process, so she would understand that you were stressed about all of this, and so it makes sense that she's excited for you that you finally have a job offer. She didn't really talk to me during lunch, and when she did speak, it was to make remarks about how the location of the job was in downtown like she wanted, but instead 25 minutes outside of it, and how she wasn't going to be happy living that far from the city center. She knew of the downtown offer I had already, and we had discussed how employees there had warned people to stay away due to the toxic environment, and we had agreed that I shouldn't accept this job. However, I was a little taken aback by her comments, since I didn't think living 25 minutes outside of the city center would be such a big deal, to the point where she would get upset over a job offer. So if she has agreed with you that's taking that offer from that toxic work environment was not the goal, was not the plan, then I don't know why she's feeling this way. So I think we might need to find out more information, and it is long, so hopefully OP provides some more context. She told me that she wasn't about to move across the country with me unless she could live in a high-rise downtown, have a high-end lifestyle, and also not work for the rest of the year. I told her that I'm fine with her not working since I should make enough for both of us. But commuting close to an hour every day for work from a far more expensive place to live unnecessarily seemed inconsiderate of her when there's plenty of great places to live near where I work. And not to mention that my salary split between two people is not going to be enough to live a high-end lifestyle. I also said that we can go downtown often to do whatever she wants, but spending $5,000 a month for a shoebox apartment and not even being close to my job seems like a nightmare. I so agree with you, and the fact that you were willing to compromise in terms of going downtown whenever she wanted and doing whatever she wanted to do makes sense. That compromise should have worked, but I think there's something else, and I can't wait for us to uncover what that is. At this point, she and her friend ganged up on me and made me feel bad for even considering an offer that was outside the city center and not tailored exactly to her desires. I tried to explain that the job market is awful right now, and being a new grad doesn't exactly give you many options on where to work, and that's a big fact. All these places want you to have experience. Being a new grad means you don't have experience. So the fact that you have this job offer, to even have two job offers in the current economy that we are in, the current job market that we're in, to have two offers, to be able to pick from those, and even those two, she had agreed with you not to take that offer because of the toxic work environment, and now her friend is ganging up on you. Yeah. And I know you said because you were going to lunch with her friend, that's why you just decided to tell them both. But I don't know why the friend feels comfortable enough to gang up on you, because this situation has nothing to do with her. Even landing a job at all in this economy as a new grad took me hundreds of applications, months of interviewing, and a pretty substantial mental strain on me. I also said that once I gain a year or two of experience, I can definitely apply for a job closer to where she wants to live and not have to settle for a toxic company. But she seemed unwilling to wait that long. I don't think she was convinced at all by what I said, and it left me feeling defeated afterward. I would be too. Because logically, this makes sense. I'm so confused at her hesitation and not willing to understand the situation at hand. You are a recent grad. You got this job offer. You're going to move. At no point did you say you're never going to live in the city center. At no point did you say you wanted to remain in the place that you moved to. This took a mental strain on you, and she is not even willing to be rational and understanding about the situation. All she wants from you is a high-end lifestyle. I don't know. I thought about that conversation the entire ride home, and now I'm genuinely terrified of moving with her now. The way she spoke made it seem like she wasn't planning on moving across the country with me, but rather to live the lifestyle she had envisioned me providing for her. She hasn't explicitly said it yet, but she has hinted that she would rather I take the toxic job downtown just so that she can be closer to where she wants to be. I've tried to have a few follow-up conversations about it, but they've been short, and it doesn't seem like she wants to discuss it in detail with me. She eventually told me it's fine to take the job farther, but her actions and behavior suggest she doesn't really feel that way. At this point, it almost feels like I have to choose between her happiness or mine, with no chance of compromise. She's done this before for other things, but we've always been able to talk it out. Except this time, she doesn't seem like she wants to. I'm unsure how to approach this. I hope we can work this out, but I also don't want to risk moving together and having her or I be miserable. I really don't want to take the downtown job, as I've been a firm believer of researching companies ahead of time in order to avoid being trapped in toxic situations. I honestly feel trapped already by being forced to consider either a job I'm probably going to hate or potentially losing my fiancé. If anyone has been in a similar situation to me, how did you handle it? How did it turn out? What advice do you have for me in this situation? Thank you. TDLR. I'm afraid my fiancé won't move with me unless I provide a substantially expensive lifestyle and location for her to live while taking a job that will most likely make my life miserable. For some reason, as soon as you said you do a lot of research for the company to not to be stuck in a toxic relationship, that's where my brain went. To not be stuck in a toxic work situation. I think you are already stuck in a toxic relationship. That being said, it's like this has happened before and you've been able to come to a compromise, but from the way that I'm understanding this, I'm not necessarily understanding what sort of compromises you could have been through in the past. And it feels like the only compromise would be you adjusting what you want to fulfill what she wants, the lifestyle she wants. And so the reason why this is now so different is because you now have to think about your mental health, and that takes a little bit more priority versus in the relationship standpoint. And so it's like there would not be any compromise. You either lose your fiancé or your mental health is going to go down the drain because you entered this toxic work situation. I don't know if you want to do that. I don't. Edit. If I could ask for a favor from you all, I would appreciate if you guys don't disparage her in the comments. She's still my fiancé. Thank you. Update. Thank you all for the helpful comments. It was validating to hear that she was acting selfishly. It gave me the initiative I needed to confront her about it again. For everyone suggesting I dump her, I can see where you are coming from if this is how she acts all the time. I wouldn't want to be trapped in this type of situation either. That being said, I should have mentioned that she's stuck with me through my worst and brokest years of grad school while she worked full-time, rarely taking any time off of her stressful job. That was important information I should have included, but I didn't. That's on me, and I apologize for making the original post one-sided. I don't think she's a gold digger, but probably just someone who's tired of living in poverty and working all the time while the other person didn't bring in any income. I would be as well if the positions were flipped. Either way, I still needed to confront her about the behavior. A breakup would be an absolute last option, but I definitely prepared myself for the worst. I understand she being with you and you're not working. She's made the sacrifice. She wants to move on from the life of poverty. But my thing is, you gave her the option of working there, getting your experience 1 to 2 years, and then applying to other jobs closer to the city center where she wants to live. I think that to me should have been the yes, let's do this. If she really cared about you, cared about your mental health, I feel like that would have been the best option. Granted, there's nothing one can know about the future. You might get there, you love the job and not want to move. But the fact is, we don't know that, so we can't move based on that information. You can only base it off right now. And if 2 years come and you decide you don't want to leave your job, she has every right to move however she wants, because she made that promise to go there and then decide your next move. I chose the day we both had off, made sure we ate, and gave her a heads up before dinner that I wanted to discuss the things that have been bothering me after we had dinner. I sat her down on our bed while I sat across from her to give her some space and make it less confrontational. I tried to make the environment as stress-free as possible to avoid the possibility of another pointless argument where things could escalate. As I brought up the topic after dinner, I was extremely anxious and had been preparing for the worst. However, she told me that she had been thinking about it and discussing it with her therapist, and her therapist basically told her what you guys said in the comments. It was a good reality check for her, and she sees where her demands were unreasonable and selfish. She's now open to find a job and also compromise on where to live after the discussion. It was refreshing to work with her as a team to find a solution instead of trying to fight to see my side. As of now, we're planning to live near the suburbs, but not far away from the city. She's also going to start applying to jobs as well, and hopefully have one by the time we move. We also went over a rough budget of what we would be and won't be able to afford, and was able to come to a consensus on what kinds of things we can and can't live without. I wanted a larger portion of our earnings to go into savings, and she was willing to let some of our initial demands go and promised she would do her own hair, lashes, nails to save money. We cut out unnecessary luxuries that would eat up our budget, and I feel more secure in our finances after the discussion. I feel better about our move now, and I think the discussion really helped us iron out things that would have built up resentment over time. She isn't a liar, so I feel good trusting her to hold up her end of the bargain. Thanks again for all your supportive comments. I really appreciate the time everyone took to read my very long post and comment on their thoughts. Maybe I'll do another update in a few months about how things are going. Take care, everyone. He seems like a very amicable compromise resolution, and I'm glad that he added the perspective of her working while he was broke and then slowest grad student. That being said, the fact that she's also willing to find a job and they now are not able to move closer to the city center and not farther into the suburbs, I think that would also help in the situation. And I'm glad that she was able to speak with someone, go to therapy and figure this out and understand where she was coming off too strongly, because that's not what a relationship is. It's not a one-sided thing, and he was willing to compromise. You were not even willing to hear that and even to have the conversation after. And I guess for her, she was just processing things, just needed time to do that, and then she was able to talk with her counselor or a therapist about the situation and realized all the issues that they had in that discussion about the move. I'm glad she doesn't lie. I will keep to her word, and I hope that everything goes well. I might actually save this to see if there's any updates in a couple of months. This was posted 55 days ago, so it's been about almost 2 months. We shall see. And with that, I've been your girl, Sheila9. I hope that you enjoyed this video. We didn't get to read any comments because this was a very long one. I wanted to make time to be able to read the actual first post and read the update, but it seems like this person was able to get a good result after discussing this issue with his fiancée. I wish them best of luck. With that, I will see you in my next one.